Hi, welcome back to my channel. Look at all these chunky books. I need to put these down so I can talk to you. Give me a second. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Cassidy. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. Today we have chunky books that I want to read. Now, I don't tend to say that I'm afraid of the chunk. I love the chunk. Most of my favorite books are chunky. Then I looked at my bookshelves and thought about all the books I haven't read, and a lot of those were chunky. And I'm like, am I actually afraid of the chunk? So here's a list of chunky books that I want to read. Now I'm counting chunky as over 600 pages. Okay? For the purpose of this video, a long book, a big book, a chunky book is over 600 pages. Some of these go way over 600 pages though. And some of these might just cross the threshold. So we'll probably know which ones I'm going to get to sooner rather than later. Let's start with this chonker. Drink every time I say chunky, chonker, different variation of chunks in this video. Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill. This is the sequel to Of Blood and Fire. I really enjoyed Of Blood and Fire, but I read the prequel novella afterwards, which was The Fall, and I gave that 5 stars. I adored it. The writing had improved, and what I really needed from Of Blood and Fire was some improvement in writing, so I'm hoping this one will improve the writing, and there is a beautiful special edition happening at Broken Binding currently for Of Blood and Fire, so I also really want to read this before that goes on sale so that I can determine if I want to pick up the special editions of the series. But this thing is chunky. It is... Why am I doing this video? 861 pages. And, like, the font is quite average sized, so that's... I wish it had a big font. I could kill someone with this thing. Of Blood and Fire is your typical Boy and His Dragon style book at first, but it does definitely expand past that. And the dragon riding in it, which happens in the fall, really, really reminds me of the, oh my god, the Anne McCaffrey series, Dragons of Pern. We follow Caden, who ends up finding a dragon egg and bonding with said dragon. Now, he wasn't supposed to. There was never supposed to be another hatched dragon, never supposed to have another bonded pair, but something happened, and he might just be the person that they need to complete a war and save everyone? I don't know how to explain this book anymore. But I really need to get to it, but I'm scared. The next is A Crown for Cold Silver, and boy, this feels light after holding up Of Darkness and Light. This is traditionally published, and I find indie papers tend to be a lot heavier for some reason, and I don't know why. They're just heavier books. This one is a grim, dark fantasy. We're following 5 villains, 1 legendary general, a final quest for vengeance. And literally the tagline on this is, it was all going so nicely right up until the massacre. I don't know much about this book. I actually filled out on Chapters, Indigo's website, the for a book. I sent my Goodreads, my Instagram page, I said what I liked in fantasy, and I got this back twice. I actually did it twice, and this was the book I got back every single time from 2 different people. So I apparently really need to read this. All roads lead to war. I like grimdark, I like military fantasy, I like big books. This one is not so big. It just crosses the line at 646 pages. Still big. It's still big though. He's still a big boy. Does big boy count as a chunky word? I can probably hold these 2 up together because they're sequels. But we have Legacy of Light and Legacy of Steel, which are the sequels to Legacy of Ash, which would also be a chunky book. But I've read it, so it doesn't need to be on this list. But I will tell you, even though I loved Legacy of Ash, I'm avoiding these books because, they're the size of my head. The size of my head! These. Yeah, let's see how long they are. Legacy of Steel comes next, and it is. Oh no. Oh no. Hey, does it only have 69 chapters? That's hilarious. Oh my god, it only has 69 chapters! It is 751 pages, and I'm gonna guess this one's bigger. Okay, this one is not a lot bigger. 768 pages. But still gigantic, A Legacy of Ash, I don't know how to sum up. It is a political fantasy in a medieval world. We're following 3 characters, 2 of which who are prisoners of war. Their mother ruled the rebellion that once went against the, ruling powers that are now, and was murdered, and now these 2 children of hers, because they are, the political ruling family technically in this side of the world, are, political prisoners. And then our other POV is the character who actually murdered the mother. And I really thought this was intricate and done well. It's very slow. I understand why a lot of people DNF it, but I ended up pushing through and adoring it, and I really do need to continue these. I'm just scared. Maybe you need to drink every time I say I'm scared. The next book is Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker. This is book 1 of the Burnt Empire saga. This I'm kind of sad about because I do believe it's supposed to be like a 5-book series, but it's not getting a lot of love, so it might be shortened a little bit, which really would suck, but like I'm still excited to read it even if they do shorten it. I think it sounds very interesting and different than a lot of things I've read. I'm playing with this ring and it's really annoying me, but I refuse to take it off because I look more put together when I have pretty things on me. I haven't actually heard anyone talk about this series. I heard about it once on Daniel Green's channel a long time ago. He did like a review about an indie fantasy because this was indie and then picked up traditionally, I believe. And it is the pioneer of modern Indian fantasy. I've never read an Indian fantasy, and something I adore in books is reading non-European white settings. I do love white European settings like Malice. I love Malice. And I do love Sanderson, but I also really, really love The Poppy War and Rage of Dragons and Nomads of the Sea, and I love a setting that's a little bit more unique sometimes, and this is own voices and beautifully done probably, and I want to know more. I want to be enriched in this story that is Indian, and I think it's going to be beautiful. I don't know anything about this book, I'm not going to lie. I think that's why I haven't picked it up yet, is I forget about it all the time. So I'm going to read the back of the book and then try to summarize it for you. Give me 1 second. This is so cool. Okay, this happens every time I read the synopsis. I really need to get to this book. It is following a world where demigods and demons walk among mortals, and the emperor of the vast burnt empire has died, and the realm is in, like, turbulence. He does leave behind two successors, 2 young princes, but in this world, not just being the king's son gives you royalty, like you don't just become the next heir. So they actually have to prove themselves first. And they do pass the trials, but someone else in the kingdom far, far away also passes a trial, and then it just puts the world into more chaos and more war because there are more claims to the throne than there ought to be. That sounds really fascinating. I love politics. I love like kingdoms fighting. I love seeing those different power struggles and rooting for different sides. I really adore this, and I love the idea of not having your royalty just being only birthright. I mean, it is still birthright, I think, slightly in this, but like there's more to it than just, oh, you have my blood. Now the real question is, how big is this boy? 662. Not terrible. It just passes over the 600. This one's not as scary. This is a good one. I like this one. No, I saw what was next in my pile. I should just never put this video on the internet because my idea is maybe I'll have a chunky book thing on the next TBR Snakes and Ladders to make me read some of these. We have Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. The sequel to The Way of Kings. I gave The Way of Kings 5 stars. I adored it. Can I tell you anything that happened in that book? No. But I do know there's some good summaries out there, so I will summary it before I read it. Because I ain't not rereading that thing. That thing is just as scary as this one. I cannot tell you what The Way of Kings is about because I don't remember it. Like, I literally don't remember it. I know that there's bridges and some, like, spirit thing. So, yeah, you're not getting a summary for this because I can't summarize this. I can't just read the back of the book, this, and then summarize you the first, like, it's the second in the, but it's Brandon Sanderson. Everyone loves Brandon Sanderson. Everyone loves the Stormlight Archive. I need to continue. I really need to continue. I've read Mistborn Era 1, the start of Mistborn Era 2, Elantris. I just need to continue. But this guy's scary. This one is really scary. It is. Oh God. I didn't want to know. 1,080 pages. Like, this isn't even chunky. This should be on a different list. This should be on, like, the mega book list. What mega books do I want to read? This one. I'm debating all of my life choices that led me up to owning this book right now. Another one I'm absolutely terrified of. But there is a bookmark in it, technically. The bookmark I read 2 weeks ago, then haven't continued. So I don't know what that says. Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. Why do I do these things to myself? This thing has a brick. It's heavy as heck, especially for a traditionally published book. And it's a history book. It's a fantasy history book, but it's a history book. It's not written in like your typical character prose narrative. It's written as like this happened, then this happened, then this happened. This is what happened and to the Targaryen dynasty. I watched the show. You know what? I thought I wanted to know more. My sister and her roommate agreed. Me and my sister regret all of our life choices, but I still want to read it. So it's like a prequel to Game of Thrones. Kind of, sort of. This boy is... There are pretty illustrations in it, at least. But it is 711 pages. That number makes me very happy because I think of 7-Eleven and Slurpees. Yes, yes. This one's more scary because it's dense. And, like, the writing is small, I think, in this. But it's just, like, very dense. It's 711 pages of history and facts and dense writing. It's scary. The next one is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. I typically do think that this is actually like book 1 and 2, but they were put together into book 1, but maybe I'm wrong. I could like literally be wrong and just like pulling that out of a hat somewhere, so please never quote me on that. The second book though, the sequel, the cover was just released and I need to get on this. I need to read this one so then I can be more scared but excited about the second book because second books are always longer and look at this guy already. Oh god. Oh god. I heard Murphy talk about this once, and then I knew I wanted to read it. And I don't remember much from that, but I just knew that I wanted to read it. It says everything I could possibly want in an epic fantasy novel. I like that. I want those things too. I want everything that I could possibly want in an epic fantasy novel to be in this. Give me one more second while I read the synopsis so I can summarize. This sounds so cool. We're following Aaron, who's lived by rules all his life until his father... And he's never questioned anything, just accepted things as they were, until his father is executed for treason, and him and his best friend are thrown into, like, the coal mines to die, like, literally to work until you die, unless they escape. But what is on the outside was much scarier than inside the coal mine. He ends up being saved by someone who hates him, but is oath-bound to protect him. They're chased by non-human things, and they're being drawn into a revolution that's brewing. And Aaron slowly accepts that the rules are not there to protect him or his people, but to enslave them. Fascinating. The Ember Blade is the key, the Sword of Kings, the Excalibur of his people, but it's locked in an impenetrable vault in the most heavily guarded fortress in the land. All they gotta do is steal it. I love a heist. I literally love a heist. I'm excited, but now let me see how long it is, and then I won't be as excited. Oh god. Oh god. I didn't think it was this long. Oh my god, it goes to the very end. Like, you know how most books have, like, a coming soon? The last page is the last page. 824 pages. Whew! I thought that was smaller. This looks smaller. These pages are thin. Oh, that's a thin page. I'm so scared. What in Earth's name made me do this video? Like, why did I think this video was a good idea? I'm just thinking through every decision ever. And the next one is Dune by Frank Herbert. I really need a push to read this. Like, I really need a push to read this. That's why this video needs to be done. I really want to read this. I really want to read this. But I am terrified. Like, not, like, size, density, audience, science, everything that is scary in this world is in this book, I think. So here I am, putting on this list so that you, and hopefully Snakes and TBR Stacks, can keep me accountable to reading it. You think that I should be able to sum up Dune considering I've watched the newest movie thingy, but I can't. It's a classic sci-fi. There's lots of, like, new formats of it. Like, it's made into adaptations all the time. It's a classic masterpiece, a triumph of imagination, and one of the best-selling sci-fi novels of all time. Set on a desert planet, Arrakis, Dune is the story of a boy who would become known as Muad'Dib, and of a great family's ambition to bring to fruition humankind's most ancient and unattainable dream. A stunning blend of adventure and mysticism, environmentalism, and politics. I like all of those things. Why does it sound so scary? Dune won the first Nebula Award, there we go, shared the Hugo Award, and formed the basis of what is undoubtedly the grandest epic in science fiction. I have no words. This is just, oh, I need to tell you how long it is. I don't want to know. Another one? Oh no, it doesn't go to the end. That was an afterword. Okay. And an appendix. Oh my god, there's so many appendixes. There is so many appendixes. But it ends on page 794, which is terrifying. But when I thought it ended on 870, 794 sounds so much better. there we go. Now the next three are honorable mentions. They're right here. These two are honorable mentions because they're mass market paperback and they fit over 600, but I cannot guarantee that they will be over 600 if they weren't mass market. I think that they would be, but I cannot guarantee. But I'm putting on this list, but I'm just putting them under honorable mention so that people don't think I'm completely cheating. But, like, I guess it's my video, it probably shouldn't matter, but, like, they are over 600 currently. In the format I own, I guess, they're over 600, so I guess that counts. Maybe they aren't honorable mentions, and only the last one's an honorable mention. This is Inda by Sherwood Smith, which I honestly don't know a lot about. This just I liked this cover, actually. And Rachel told me about it, and I put it on a wish list, and Sahar, I think, got it for me. Yes, Sahar. And every time I read the synopsis of this, I think it sounds incredible. And people tell me I should read it. It fits some tropes I really like. Some things that are in my 5-star audit video that I learned I really liked. It fits a lot of those. So I should really, really read it. It's just 610 pages. So it barely crosses a line in mass market paperback. But like, my video, my rules. I think that's what I just determined. I know it follows the second son of the prince of some land I can't say the name of. And tradition dictated when his older brother inherited the realm, Inda would be his brother's shield arm, so his military champion. Military is like a buzzword for me. And Tanrid, as heir, had the privilege of attending the military school. Like all second sons, Inda was taught at home and would be privately trained by the brother whose lands he would one day protect. So he's like, the brother goes to school and then his brother trains him. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we got that down. But only in times of impending war are second sons asked to join the older brothers in the royal city for their military training. And of course, it's a time of impending war, so Inda gets to go to this military school. But there is a lot of, like, animosity against second sons, and they're not trained very well, they're bullied a lot, and there's a lot of infighting and political factions divided by the nobility, and they often find physical, painful ways to express this. And obviously Inda has like a giant part to play in the future of the coming war rebellion kind of shebang. I have been told that the second half of this book happens on boats, on the water, which is another giant buzzword. So like military, school, water, politics. I need to read this. It just has to be. And this is a lot less scary than the other ones. So I'm just saying this could be the first one read if that prompt ever comes up, which is probably cheating. But here I am. Over 600 pages. The next one is very new, so I can't say I've been putting it off for a long time because it's chunky, but I think I could put it off for a long time because it's chunky, which is Fairies of Calderon by Jim Butcher, which is book 1 of the Codex Alera series. I don't know a lot about this. I know there's elemental magic, which sounds cool. I know we're following a 15-year-old who can't use his magic, but he's going to be the one that has like the biggest importance to the coming war. He will turn the tides of the coming war. Chosen one, fascinating magic systems, cool. People I love and trust tell me to read this, so I need to read it. How big is it? Mass market is just so much more nice. It just feels less scary. That's the Dresden Files. 653. So really not that scary, but like also very scary. I'm telling myself that it's not that scary because it's a mass market, but like, if you've seen the size of mass markets to like those bigger books, I don't know, it's magic. They'll be like the same page count, but like one will be this small and one will be like this small. And to be fair, Fairies of Calderon is a awkward size. Like, this is a standard mass market and this is like taller and wider. So I think Fairies of Calderon is actually very scary. Very scary still. But I'm gonna pretend it's not, so that I can feel better about this list. The last one is just an honorable mention. I think it's a cheat, but like, I need it on this list in order to push me to read it, so I'm still counting it, which is The Doors of Eden by Adrian Chbosky. I have tried Adrian Chbosky before. I tried Children of Time twice. I've tried the audiobook. I've tried physical. I've always ended up DNFing it. It just does not work for me. I still own the book. I should get rid of it. This sounds a little bit up my more typical sci-fi alley, but like, I'm not 100% sure. I love the cover on it. I'm excited to read this, but like, I'm scared because Adrian Chbosky's writing is just very science, very dry, very dense. So I'm scared of it. So it needs to be on this list, but I believe it's less than 600 pages. It is 596, And the font is huge. Like, it is big font. So, like, it's really not that intimidating when I, like, open it, I look at it. There's giant margins on each side. Like, it's really not that scary. But I think it's the concept and the author that is very intimidating for me. So it's on this list as a, like, honorable mention. I might have more books that are over 600 pages, but I tried to go through my stack and find ones that were, like, intimidating to me because of the size. And I think that some of the Faithful and the Fallen series will be over 600, but I can't lie, I'm not intimidated by those. I'm so excited to read those, so I didn't pull them out, and I didn't really want to interrupt what's the snow thing that's happening here, because it's a lot of work. Even to just get the Of Darkness and Light out, there's snow everywhere. Oh, I think I missed one. And then, like, Wheel of Time is also over 600, but I will be forced to read these soon, so I don't know. I don't find them as intimidating either, but all of Wheel of Time series pretty much will be over 600, but there's something I have to do soon where I need to read them. That's all I'm gonna say. So I feel like they don't need to be in this video because they won't matter to that square on the board, if that makes sense. And it's just not as intimidating to me for some reason. Like, the size of Wheel of Time, not that scary. Anyways, those are all my chunky boys that I own that I want to read, as far as I know. There are probably more coming in the future. When I think about making that TBR prompt, it's not 100% for sure, but I do know that this is a list I kind of want to get back to and look at more often and read some of these. When I think about making that prompt, though, I think that prompt will be just over 600 pages. It won't necessarily mean it has to be in this video, as I do know that I'm continually reading, I'm continually collecting more chunky books, and those excite me. I believe Illborn 2 will be more than 600 pages, but, like, it's not out yet. I don't have it. So just, like, keep that in mind. But this is a list of chunky boys that I really want to read and chunky boys that I'm hoping to get to in the future. So let me know down below if you have any books that really scare you based on the size, if you're excited to read any of these, and if you're just not feeling chatty and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, you can either leave me a peach or an eggplant, because chonky. And that's all I'm gonna say about that one, why I picked those. And then if you'd like to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.